What is up there, everyone? It's the guy from No Gamer Tag here, and thank you guys for 10 subs. Really happy because I actually gained 3 subs in 2 days, which is probably a record so far. It's really cool. I'm really happy with it. Can't tell you how much it means for a sub. I aim to send every sub I get a message telling them that I appreciate that they've subbed and that I will try not to let them down with my videos. And before I get to the topic I want to do for my 10 subs video, I just want a quick shout out to a good friend of mine called Brackers Productions 1. He's a great guy. He does COD videos. He also does Minecraft series, GTA series, and other games. You might like his channel if you like those games. Also, he does do some quite funny videos. He actually did a parody kind of video to sort of mocking trick shotters. It was pretty funny actually. I watched it. I liked it. But yeah, please go check him out if you want. Link will be in the description. And anyway, the topic of today's video is how I started gaming. Now, I reckon about 3 or 4 when I kind of started gaming, because the real story behind it is because I started with a PS2. That was the first console that we ever had in my house. And basically, my dad wanted a DVD player, but the PS2 was like 50 quid cheaper than any DVD player at the time. So my dad was like convinced my mum, can we have a DVD player? And eventually my mum just said yes. And then what happened was my dad then bought 2 games, or 3, with the PS2. So essentially, we never really used it as a DVD player. We actually just kind of bought a console. Me and my sister always were using it. And then we eventually bought a DVD player anyway. So it's kind of a funny backdrop to it. But the games I remember we got at the start, we got Crash Bandicoot, which I never really got into. I played it a couple of times, but I've never really liked it. But the game that I always played is still, probably to this day, one of my favourite games. Probably in the top 2 or 3 of my favourite ever games. I reckon if the PS2 had come out put it this way, if I still played that game the amount I game now, that would easily be my most played game. It may even be one of my most played games. It was the original Burnout. Now, I loved that game so much. It is just a classic. I still love the Burnout series. I mean, it did go downhill a bit. I think Burnout 2 wasn't really that... It was not really that great. I enjoyed it at the time, but it was still nowhere near as good. Burnout 3 was pretty awesome. I liked that game. Then after that, they had Burnout Legends, I think. No, that was the PSP version. I have that. That's actually quite a lot of fun because that was like a combination of all the games, which was pretty cool. It was... Oh yeah, Burnout Revenge. That was what it was called. That was alright, but it just didn't seem that great. I didn't play it as much. Although, Burnout Paradise is really cool. If you actually want me to... I might post... I was thinking I might post something like Burnout Paradise, because I do enjoy playing that game every now and then. If you want me to post something like that, please let me know, because I wouldn't mind trying to get some recording of it, because it might be quite entertaining. So yeah, I always played the original Burnout. Then we got more games. The next game that I got, which I really played loads, and I actually played it with my dad so much, it was the Gran Turismo games. Because for PS2 we got Gran Turismo 3, and that was quite a fun game. It's a driving simulator. It's... Put it this way, it is... For looking... It always, when it comes out, they are usually the leading graphics for driving games. The graphics on the games are really good. I admit now, having a look at Need for Speed Rivals, the new one, it looks like that actually does look pretty realistic. So it might not be leading graphics anymore, but it always was the leading light for graphics in racing games. I always me and my dad. We went absolutely mental on that game with tuning cars, because it was always a bit of fun, because we were like, oh, we can't win that race in any of these cars we've got, let's just tune one. We actually put a Toyota Yaris with about 600 horsepower in it, and it was out-racing Mustangs and stuff. It was brilliant. We absolutely loved that car. We also did that with a Nissan Skyline. We put 700 horsepower in it. Then we decided, hey, let's put another turbo on it. We tried, and the way we tested whether we should put the turbo on it was if it could get around the last corner of Laguna Seca. it was drivable, but it kind of wasn't. It just didn't stop. So that was quite funny. Then we eventually Gran Turismo 4 came out, which was pretty cool. I do love that game. I don't play it now because I just don't play my PS2 much. If I do go back to PS2, I usually play like the old Need for Speed games or the original Burnout. Although I did like Need for Speed. I got Need for Speed really late. I got Underground. I got that only about probably about 6-7 years ago. I don't know. I got Need for Speed Underground on the PS2. I did like that game. It was actually really fun, although it was really difficult. And I admit I think I'm a bit better than I was now, but I did used to get really worked up over games. If I wasn't winning, or there was if I made a mistake and I lost the race because of it, I would get so worked up over it. I think that was because as a kid I was told that second is just best loser, which really hasn't helped me because it has kind of messed me up in some situations. But I really liked that game. It was really fun, especially just customizing the paint jobs on the cars. That was great. Then Underground 2, I love that game to pieces. I prefer it to the original just because you had I reckon it's the first ever free roam game for cars. I love that, just customizing the cars, doing races. I just love the game to pieces. Then, well, over my PS2, those are the games I kind of played a lot. I did have a FIFA game, which I was terrible at. I set up this mini World Cup tournament, and I was playing it against my sister, and we drew 4-4, but my sister scored 2 of the goals for my team. It's I'm pretty crap at this game. I had an F1 game which I played quite a bit. I did enjoy that. Then it was then eventually the PS3 came out. I didn't get it for a few years just because it seemed so expensive. And then eventually I just decided to get one, and it was because Gran Turismo 5 was finally supposed to be coming out. Then it didn't, it was delayed a year, but I still had it. My first games on it would have been Ridge Racer 7, which was quite fun. It's like a really old school kind of arcade game. It's not particularly realistic. The graphics on it are quite cool and the tracks are quite cool, but if you hit a barrier, you get sort of bounced off it. It's really strange gameplay, but it was quite fun while I played it. I also had FIFA 09 with it, which I did actually get quite good at for a while, but I never played it online because I admit I was a noob. I didn't actually realise you could do online gaming till about 2 years after I had the console. And I also got given MotorStorm Pacific Rift. Now that game was awesome. If you've never played MotorStorm, basically you have so many vehicle classes. You've got bikes, quad bikes, rally cars, trucks, monster trucks, and all that good shit. It is so much fun. I played that game so much. It was awesome, and when I finally played it online, I loved it to pieces. That's probably one of my favourite ever PS3 games. It's just a shame that no one plays it anymore because they brought out Apocalypse, which is quite good. I do enjoy it, but it's nowhere near as cool as the original was. I love the original so much more, and I sometimes go back to play the single player on it just because it was so much fun. Then at the time I got a few more racing games. Burnout Paradise was one of them. I do love that game. That is definitely my favourite free roam game. I absolutely love it. I just hope they bring out a new Burnout for the next consoles. I just always loved Burnout, and it would be a shame because I know EA make Burnout, and they also make Need for Speed. And I admit Need for Speed and Burnout are almost the same game. It's just Need for Speed is slightly aimed more at street racing and realism, whereas Burnout is just more aimed at shits and giggles, really. That's the aspect I love it. It's more of a shits and giggles game, so I can play it a bit more. And yeah, I hope they bring out a new one. I also got a game for Split Second Velocity. That's just not. Most of my PS3 games are racing games because I only actually got into first-person shooters about 3 years ago. So yeah, I have a lot of racing games. Ferrari Challenge I really enjoyed. That was quite fun, but it is a really difficult game. It's the only racing game where I've ever used the racing line on it. Every other racing game I find it distracting. Although one game I cannot forget to mention is Race Driver Grid. That game was pretty cool because it was a racing kind of simulator game, but it wasn't like Gran Turismo. Because when you play Gran Turismo, the AI cars, they're really kind of wooden. If they pass each other, they just sort of like go round smoothly and shot back. It's almost like the AIs are like running like Scalextrics almost. They just don't seem to do much. I'm not ripping Scalextrics. I enjoy that as well every now and then, but they just don't seem to like be like you're playing against other people. It just feels like you're playing against a really old computer almost. Whereas Grid, the cars move about all the time. They start spinning out, crashing into each other, taking each other out, which is why it's such a good game, because it's really unpredictable. Admittedly, eventually people did start realising how it worked, that sometimes cars in front of you would spin out because it was like a certain algorithm in the game. But apart from that, it was pretty unpredictable, especially in the drift events, because you never knew what your opponents were going to get. Then eventually I got into first-person shooters because I think I played like one of the like Battlefield, one of the old like World War II ones on a computer when I went around to friends once. But I didn't like the game because I didn't see any point in it. I found it really boring at that time. But then I went on to when Black Ops was about to come out, I bought Modern Warfare 2 because my dad finally said, yeah, you can get you can get a shooter game. So I got Modern Warfare 2 because my friends were just like, yeah, get that one, it'll be relatively easy for you. So now I went on that, and it is definitely, to this day, just my favourite first-person shooter, just for being... It's probably just because it was the first one I bought. I just loved it. I played the campaign. I really enjoyed it. I like the twist in it. I'm not going to give away any spoilers. I really like the campaign. So I played that. I never got Black Ops. I've never actually played Black Ops either. But I got that. I played it for the year. Eventually got Modern Warfare 3, which I really love. I still actually play it now, just because the online is so good. I loved the campaign. The campaign had some really epic moments in it. I got Black Ops 2, which is definitely the most... I got Battlefield 3 first. I got that, which was... I love that game. It's really cool. I just like the destructive environments and being able to drive vehicles and do pretty much anything you want. One thing I don't like is that you can be kicked or banned from a server for using a bit of equipment people don't like. I mean, I got banned from a server for using a Claymore. Really? But yeah, then the next game I got was Black Ops 2, and I'm not going to go there. Put it this way, the campaign was not what I thought it would be. It was supposed to be based in the future, but the game just never really seemed to have much in the future. The most futuristic kind of thing in multiplayer that I can think of is the millimeter scanner. But in general, the game just doesn't seem as futuristic as it seemed in the trailers. But anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you for 10 subs. Please, I want to hear what you guys think, like what games you always love, like you used to play, and will be your like favorite through time. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you on another video, guys. Enjoy.